A lot will depend really on whether this strike is continued. At the moment, we have 8 days, and most of the shipping lines have been able to navigate the way around that, either by bringing some of the ships in earlier or maybe changing the rotations of some of those ships. Some of those ships will also discharge their cargoes in North Europe. Some may even discharge cargoes in other UK ports, because don't forget, we still have London Gateway and Southampton as two key container hubs in the UK. So it's not total shutdown. So really much depends on what happens after these 8 days. And what shipping lines obviously don't want is for there to be uncertainty. So no 24-hour strikes or 48-hour strikes or other sorts of industrial action. So they'll be able to navigate the 8 days, and obviously it will cause some disruption to the supply chain. But most people will be able to get around that in due course, as long as it ends next Monday.
Well, so we need to talk about why it's happening as well. And as Kelly was trying to say, people decide whether they support or don't support a strike depending on their understanding of the grievance involved here. So we were talking to a union representative earlier in the programme. Tell us about the owners, Felixstowe Dock and Railway Company. I mean, he was making out they make very, very big profits, and they have been doing for a long time, and it's about time they shared that around. He's saying they can afford a 10% rise, and he feels his workers deserve it after what they've been doing to keep the country going during the pandemic.
Well, one could say that everybody deserves an increase, and obviously with inflation as it is, that's what workers will be looking to do. Having said that, it's companies need to make profits to keep going, and obviously Felixstowe has had to invest in the port to make sure it can accommodate these mega 24,000 TEU ships. So I'd rather not be drawn on that one, but basically to say that obviously the two sides need to sit down. They were at ACAS. Those talks broke down, but worryingly there's no sign of any further talks. So they need to sit down back at ACAS and thrash this out.
And Mike, you have worked at Felixstowe yourself, haven't you? There's people that are waking up this morning. They haven't yet read about this or heard about this. It's the first they're hearing. So describe Felixstowe to us, because it is quite unique, isn't it? And we heard earlier that the workers aren't quite militant, or they haven't been before. They haven't been on strike in 30 years. This is really quite significant, isn't it?
It is, because it's not a traditional dock area, unlike London and Southampton. Felixstowe came out of nothing, out of a small dock basin, and developed into the biggest UK container port. Most people in Felixstowe, when I worked there, work in the shipping industry. Some have even been transferred from Southampton or other places, etc. So there is very much a shipping fraternity there. So dock workers' families work in the forwarding industry, they work in the transport industry, so it's all interconnected. So this will be hitting not just the dockers in their take-home pay, but everybody else that will face some loss of earnings.